Welcome to Rick's Corner. The man, the myth, the legend. Now on with the show.
Welcome to Rick's Corner. Today I have a legend in bodybuilding that a lot of you asked for. He's won numerous titles. He's known for his magnificent championship legs, among other things. And it's my pleasure to have Tom Platz.
Thanks, Rick. It's good to be here.
It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been an awful long time.
Last time I saw you was at Mike Glass's Orange County show, and you gave me an award, which I have in there.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that. I was thinking about that on the way over.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, and then before that, I think it was, we saw each other golds and worlds.
Venice Beach Contest.
Yeah, that's right. Venice Beach Contest.
You had a Hawaiian shirt on.
Yeah, I was feeling bad that day too.
Were you?
And people really hated that picture. It looks so bad. It is messed up.
Oh God, I hate that when they do that.
I'm sick again today. I'm jet lagged out and the dentist today, but I probably look better than I did then. I'm trained.
You'll be fine. Trust me, you'll be fine.
Okay.
All right, now you go around and do seminars, right?
Yeah, all through Europe.
Okay, is this for leg development mostly?
Squat clinics is one of the things. It was Cha's idea. She goes, why don't you just do a squat clinic? That's sort of like your niche, you know? So I said, okay, let's do a squat clinic. Let's go, and through Europe. And by being in Europe most of the year, I can go to every country there is. Much easier than the LA or...
Well, they're closer together.
Yeah, they're small. It's like going in the United States, going state to state.
I see.
So I enjoy that. I enjoy the human contact. I do motivational seminars as well. I enjoy that. But together, I went back into corporate function. I don't know if the whole story I tell, but I was involved in the corporate world for about 10, 12 years.
Doing what?
Corporate recruiter. I was actually a corporate recruiter. I decided one day that the energy which worked in the gym for us, what if I put that into the real world? And went in for an interview with my suit on, and I don't want Arnold to give me a job, and I want to see if I can do it myself.
Of course.
It's like squatting, can I do this?
Of course.
So after a period of, make a long story short, after about 12 years, you get promoted, you find your way. It was a little uncomfortable for the interview. They're like, what kind of office experience do you have?
Yeah.
My resume did indicate that, because I never had to. At 20 years old, I was on, doing what I'm doing now.
Exactly.
So it was hard to resign. I finally decided to resign from the corporate world. It was mainly due because the internet and a lot of the 20 and 30 and 40-year-olds that are too young to know the old days, if you will. They're all of a sudden I'm new for them,
right?
And it offered a lot of opportunity for me to travel around the world again and do seminars and exhibitions. And my CEO said, his name is Dino. And he said, if you don't go back to your world and what you know best, he goes, don't get me wrong, I want to keep you here. I'm going to leave your name on the door. But if you should go back home. This is what you know best. This is what you talk about with such passion and love and familiarity. Because I wanted to learn what he did. I wanted to learn what a CEO of a big corporation does. And he pulled me into meetings and taught me things, and it was enlightening to me. But finally, he said, I'm going to fire you if you don't go. And he was joking. He was joking, but I decided.
But he said, you got to give me your leg routine.
I did that. But it didn't work. He still has skinny legs. But that's what I've been doing prior to the last couple of years. I mean, I sunk, rather than getting my sweatsuit on in the morning, I got my coat and tie on.
Yeah, different world.
It was a very different world, but the same things that worked in the gym worked in the corporate world, with one exception. When you see red, you get glorified in the gym when you see red and attack the weight, right? When you see red in the office, you have to wait till it goes to pink. Yeah. I would get in trouble and say things I shouldn't say. And
well, because you've been on your own a lot. Yeah. When you're motivated, and I do a lot of shows about the getting motivated, and you do too, to get up in the morning and go to the gym, it takes a lot to get you going. It takes a lot of motivation. But if you can use that same motivation towards everything you want to do in life, then you'll succeed at almost everything you do.
You can do anything.
You can do anything.
I mean, I thought if I had one more life, maybe this time I could be a doctor or a lawyer or a golfer. I mean, I don't even think about talent. I don't think it's about. I think it's just about attitude. Yeah. I really believe it's like the gym. I mean, we all went to the gym. You were there before I was in the '60s, and then I sort of came later. But it was just an attitude. And when I walked into the old Golds, it was like, you could see the energy. It was
You
so
could feel
thick.
it. Yeah, you could feel it. And nobody really understands that unless they were there then. I try to explain that, but it's something that won't ever be again. It's just not like that nowadays.
No, and everybody asked me about what was it like. I'm sure they ask you what was it like.
Yeah.
And that's why we're with old school. You know,
Yeah.
we represent that. But
Yeah.
I think everybody wants to bring it back. They want that family camaraderie back.
Exactly.
You know?
And it's hard to do with today's generation. Now I'm sounding like my father. But you go to the gym and there's these younger people and they have their headsets on, they don't communicate, they don't talk. You see them doing exercises, most of them are all wrong, but you don't want to say anything because you don't want to overstep your boundary. But it's not like it was before. They didn't have headsets, and Joe Gold all he had was a water fountain and no music. So you communicated.
Yeah, I mean, we had no hoodies and headsets, and
No.
we couldn't text anybody between sets. You know.
Let me ask you a question. Since you do the squat clinics, without getting into all of your stuff that you do on your seminars, because it's already out there, and I don't want to expose it here because I want them to come pay to see it.
Okay.
But I think it's the only way to do it. But on squats, I remember seeing you work out at World Gym where Joe had the second gym,
Yeah.
and extensions, and you were going on extensions to where you just couldn't do one more rep. You were just rocking it.
Yeah.
Did you do that every workout?
Yeah. I found that if I really trained intense and almost insane, you know, having that switch where you go, okay, here's normal and here's crazy insane. Once, if I would do that and really go to the point where I couldn't do any more and give static reps and partial reps and have somebody push down on it,
Saw that, yeah.
I couldn't train that often. I mean, people don't know. Well, they think that's the way to train, and it did work for me with being careful, of course, not trying to injure yourself. But you know, leg workout like you saw me do that, it was every 2 weeks at the most.
Yeah, it couldn't be every other day.
No. I mean, you know, I did that for Sergio Oliva Jr. And he used to train every 3 to 5 days. It's squat day. You know, he's like, when I was working with him, it's like, you know, 8 or 10 days. Like, I don't think I'm ready yet. You know, okay, it's a different mentality.
Do you think the squats are the best exercise for building quads?
I think it's the best exercise for building the whole body.
The whole body, right?
The whole body.
The foundation, everything.
Even the spirit and the energy, the endurance, I mean, conditioning. I mean, we used to go on stage and pose for hours.
Right.
Nowadays, they're like, let them rest. They're over 300 pounds. Okay, wait, don't hold it down. Don't go too fast and hit a couple shots. Let them rest. I'm like, what?
Well, now let me ask you a question, because this pertains to me right now. I had a knee replacement a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Complete knee replacement. I got it from wrestling, and I was bow-legged on one leg, and I couldn't hardly walk. I can do anything now.
You can?
I can. I have no pain. I can do stairs, everything.
Wow.
So I was doing leg press. Leg press never did much for me, but so I started doing hack squats. And the hack squats I feel quite a bit. I'm afraid to take the bar on my back and stand up and try to balance it on my knees at this point, at my age and after doing them. I just wonder, you think the hack squats are equally as good?
Well, I think the hack squat and the squat are two of the most perfect exercises for quadriceps.
Okay.
Those two exercises, you can do it all. The hack, you can get a lot done. I mean, I know Dorian Yates injured himself on squats, and he did hacks primarily during his career. A number of other people have done hacks as well, having a background of squat. I think the squats are most effective because, you know, you're out there in the open air. You have to use balance and coordination.
Of course.
And that's why I think it's more effective for the accessory muscles and all that stuff. But I'm not saying you should absolutely have to squat, but I'd be inclined to put on the bar.
Yeah. I'm just a little nervous now after all these injuries and the knee replacement. I tore both my quads in 2001.
Jeez.
I don't want to tear those tendons again.
No, I mean,
No.
you don't want to do that, and it's certainly not worth the risk. If the risk is too high,
Yeah.
and I always go benefit to risk ratio.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at risk to benefit, or for benefit to risk, it's
Yeah.
at your age and for your method of training already, what is it really going to do for you?
Nothing. It doesn't really matter at this point. But I still like to get a good leg work. I do the hacks, the extension, the leg curls and calves like I normally would do. I just don't throw the squats in anymore.
I'd like to try it.
I know.
Not fast, not explosive reps.
Yeah, I think about it, and then my mind, and I look at people doing it, and then I look over there. It's like, okay, I've seen it. I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
But here's what you haven't really touched on, and I think we should.
Okay.
Since you do the squat clinic and it's legs, it's about legs, and you have the greatest legs ever. What about your upper body? You had to train that equally as hard.
Yeah, I mean, people. I think what happened is when I first walked on stage, everybody was judging all the physiques by Arnold was the status quo, and my legs weren't the status quo. And the judges are like, "What do we do with this guy? Where do we put him?" Well, we can put him here. Okay, and it worked for me. It did. But now 37 years later, all the pros have monstrous legs, and they do. But I don't think anyone back in the 70s really looked at lower body. For me, I was taught, by Norbert Szymanski and the weightlifters that the squat, this is what you do. And I didn't have cross striations coming out of the womb. Don't get me wrong, but I responded very well to very hard work, and I liked the work ethic of it all and all that stuff. But I'm wandering away from your question. Repeat your...
No. What I'm saying is, did you work, let's just say if you did your upper body, chest, shoulders, arms, legs, back, did you work them equally as hard as you did your legs?
Sure, if not harder.
Did you?
And probably harder. Definitely harder. We used to, on a regular basis, handle the 180-pound dumbbells for reps in incline press, and I was getting 10, 12 reps in my heyday there.
Yeah.
We, T-bar rows with anywhere from 100 reps to 4 reps,
Yeah, 100 reps is a lot of reps.
Yeah, I used to like the reps. I still do.
They're good.
And I was never good at the reps. People think, he's always good at reps. It took me 10, 20 years to get good at reps. I'm an old powerlifter who pretended to be a bodybuilder all those years.
I was a powerlifter in the beginning too. Those are the roots. That's your foundation.
You put both together. You put the heavy weights and the reps together, which I did for every body part.
Right.
Worked really well. With the exception of biceps. I had to go early in the morning and really go real slow. And I watched, Arnold. You pick out a guy that has the best arms. So I watched him do the supination, the pronation, one at a time. And I never really saw Arnold go higher than maybe a 35, 40 pound.
He didn't go heavy on him.
So I went down to the 30s, even started with the 15s and the 20s. I got results in my arms that way.
How many reps?
When I was really proficient, I'd say, 40, 50 reps.
Really? That many to start with, huh?
Yeah, I of course would do 8s and 6s as well.
Yeah, of course. But you start with higher reps?
Yeah, the reps always were magical from my back and from my biceps.
Okay.
I used a lot of reps and everything else too, but I found the biceps I had to really slow down the movement. Where chest and legs and back,
you can explode.
Heavy explosive.
Yeah.
Although all those years of watching Robbie, and I still see him in the gym.
Yeah.
And when you see somebody like Robbie do a set of seated cable rows, you have to pause and just watch. It's like, wow. When you see Arnold do bicep curls, you stop. You watch. Because it's the epitome of how it's supposed to be done.
Exactly.
And you try to invent that movement pattern within yourself.
Right.
And I still go through that. Even though it's been 40 years in my age, 50 for you.
But you're always going into the gym trying something. Even at my age, I go in the gym and try something new. The workouts get stale. You got to change it up a bit. Yeah. And I went to the incline dumbbell curls alternates now, but it pulls on my bicep tendon a little bit. Yeah. But now this past week has been better, so I want to do them because that's a good movement. Yeah. But it's like you say, you got to squeeze the life out of every rep.
You have to. To me, it's like I imagine having a towel that's wet, and I want to get every drop of water out of that towel. Right. If I think that way during the set, there's a little water, and I can't stop until that's accomplished.
Okay, and then how many days a week did you train each body part like that?
Once a week. I would train. I think I had great results. When I tried to do what Arnold did and train twice a day, 6 days a week, I got small and fat doing that. And so that wasn't for me. When I trained 3 and 4 days a week, I got big and strong. When I trained, like before the 80s and the Mr. Olympia, I would train 4 days in a row and maybe 4 days in a row again without rest. But most of the time it was 4 days in a row, a couple of days off. You have to remember though, I was on stage. We didn't have Facebook or Instagram.
Right.
So I was guest posing every single weekend in the United States.
And the posing alone takes a lot of energy.
Oh yeah, traveling to, traveling from.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I enjoyed that. I enjoyed going on stage, and so I was able to juggle, those 10,000 miles a week on air travel, and 4 days a week in the gym, or 3 days a week in the gym, and doing that. And that was my life.
It is your life, but it's your lifestyle. Always will be. What about your diet back then? How people want to know how much protein, how many carbs, how many fats. It changes with time. But
when I first started training, we emulated you guys. So everything you did, we did. So the low sugar diet, the low carbohydrate diet. I would on a regular basis consume between 3,000 and 4,000 calories a day. Talking about the teenage years, 3,000 and 4,000 calories a day, maybe 300 grams of protein.
That's a lot.
It was considered normal back then.
Yeah.
But carbs, I would maybe have 10 or 20 grams of carbs a day.
Yeah.
And fat. I think it was over 100, between 100 and 200 grams of fat.
That was your energy source.
Yeah, and that worked.
Yeah.
That worked, and I would just juggle the amount of food
Mm-hmm.
prior to, after winning like the Mr. Michigan in '75, and then coming out here and competing in my first Olympia after the Universe win in 1979, my first Olympia. I was doing that kind of diet,
Mm-hmm.
and it worked really well.
Mm-hmm.
But then I go, there's something, I gotta try something else. If I keep doing what I'm doing, I keep getting what I'm getting. And I gotta stand next to the best in the world.
Oh, I like that saying. I'm going to use that one.
So I got to stand next to the guy. When I was a little boy, I had pictures of all the top bodybuilders in the world on my wall, in my room. We all did.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, in 1979, after I won the Universe, I'm eligible to stand next to all these guys. I mean, it's not quite ready yet.
Yeah.
It took me 3 years to really felt I deserved to be there. But I just thought about all that, and I lost my train of thought.
Well, you changed your diet up.
Oh, my diet. Okay, thanks for
This happens when you get older.
Yeah, I know it does. It happens after the dentist too.
What was your name again?
Really?
Where am I?
When I switched in 1980,
Yeah.
my second Olympia, we went to Australia. Arnold was in that one. I decided, after much consideration and discussion with Mike Menser and all the people that were condoning the high carb diet, and I'm thinking, how can I get in shape with a high carb diet? How's it possible?
Yeah.
So finally, in 1980, 4 months before the Olympia, I go, I'm going to go on a high carb diet, and I started my calories kind of high. And sure enough, 8 weeks before the contest, I was shredded, eating 300 grams of carbohydrates a day.
Really?
And I was like, wow, this is fantastic. I'm full, and I'm strong. And I'm losing a little bit of body weight progressively on purpose, but I would go from 4,000 calories a day, and I went all the way down to 2,000 calories a day before the show, roughly. But I lost body fat progressively. Every 3 weeks, I would take an assessment, and I lost progressive body fat on high carbs. It worked really, really well for me. Now, I didn't have any water-related issues, but we were at the beach 3 hours a day back then. There was no suntan beds. There was no spray
No,
tents.
that's the way it was.
So I was always dry from that. But I remember posing in the mirror all the time, after doing, upper body, arms or something. And Franco would go, if they had the contest today, you would win. And Arnold condoned that and said, yes, that's right. I felt everything I did that year worked.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think the secret for me back then would be to stop doing high carbs at some point and go back to the high fat.
Mm-hmm.
That switching metabolisms. In hindsight, everything's 20/20.
Of course it is.
Okay, but as I look back, that would be the one thing I would do different. I would go back to high carbs to high fat and switch back accordingly. I think that would have got me in better shape in the later 1980s.
Gotcha. But now with the high carbs, what type of carbs are you eating?
Rice, not much potatoes, not much pasta. I did real well on white rice.
Okay. Fruit?
Yeah, a little bit of fruit, a banana, a couple bananas a day. In the morning, I would have my 2 pieces. They used to have this granola bread. Remember the granola bread?
Sure I do.
And I would put butter on there. No, I'm sorry. This was before the contest. I wouldn't put butter, but I would put maple syrup and frozen bananas.
Oh boy.
And it was like cinnamon.
Yeah.
And then that with a cup of coffee. It was like, man.
Oh my God.
I was ready for the gym.
That's the best.
But it only lasted about an hour.
Yeah.
After an hour on that many carbs in that kind of condition, it was I couldn't see.
That was it, huh?
So I had to make sure I was all ready to go when I walked in the door.
Yeah.
But the high fat sort of preserved or sustained the carbohydrate when I didn't have the fat. I was working off of less than 9 grams of fat a day. But that diet worked real well, extremely well in '81. But again, I think I should have switched back in the later years in the '80s.
What was your protein source?
Primarily tuna.
Mm-hmm.
Tuna was, for me back then, it was convenient, it was pre-measured.
For a lot of people.
There was no guessing.
Yeah.
I look back now, the mercury, I don't know, maybe it wasn't the best thing.
I never thought about the mercury. People say the mercury. I had a fucking Lincoln out there. I don't know about mercuries. but the chicken was big, and then beef patties were big.
Yeah. I always liked ground beef.
Yeah.
But I reserved the ground beef more for the off season, and the chicken more for the off season. I did fish in my later years. Mm-hmm. But the tuna was so convenient, and I could put it. I know exactly. This is tuna. This is this many ounces. This is bam, rice, and it was like coordinated in my mind. I didn't walk.
Did you eat it out of the can?
No, I would put it in water and squeeze out some of the salt and all that stuff, and I would usually eat it mixed up with my rice.
Yeah, that's much better. Out of the can is just like horrible.
Yeah, but that was I look forward to that meal. And even during the before the '81 Olympia, I would have like a little bit of pickle relish on there.
There you go.
It tasted good, but I didn't know it was high in. It was higher in sodium, but I needed the sodium to keep everything working correctly. Now all these gurus, put in sodium at a certain time, and we used to do it ourselves. We never had a coach saying, "Here's a..."
No, and we used to eat a lot of cottage cheese, and cottage cheese has sodium. I just found out recently, but back then, even Arnold's refrigerator had like things of cottage cheese in there because it's like a whey protein.
Yeah, exactly. That was our whey protein back then.
Exactly, and it works, and even to this day, Ken Waller said just put honey in it, which I did, and it's actually really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Did you have a cheat day?
Not usually. During the '81 Olympia, I didn't really have a cheat day. Artie Zeller was observing me all the time, and Artie Zeller would say, "Tom, you're looking really good right now. I wouldn't change much." That was the kind of year where I mentioned everything you did, where I opened the door to the gym, boom, everything worked.
Mm-hmm.
I had a severe emotional thing going on prior to getting into this, and I very rarely talk about it, but I can now. I mean, my girlfriend, my fiance at the time, she left me for my training partner prior to the '81 Olympia.
Oh my God!
So I'm like, Rick.
Not a good time.
I'm like, oh my God, can I train? How am I going to train for the And they were in the gym together. Kiss, hug, hug, and I'm like. So, but as a result, all that negative, all that hurt, somehow God gave me the ability to put it in my training.
There you go.
And it was a magical, beautiful year. There was no exercise that I did that wasn't super effective.
Yeah.
Anything I ate, boom. Every time I remember looking in the mirror prior to going to the Columbus show. We had the Olympia in Columbus that year. I'm showing my trainer partner. My buttocks are all ripped up. I go, too bad we can't show this, huh, Joe? He goes, and now 25 years later,
you can.
It's you do.
Yeah, I went through a breakup like that many 30 years ago or better, and it really did the same thing to me. So I just put all my energy positive into the workout, and I went from 223 to 239, ripped. How did that happen? I just focused on it, like you, and my diet was tight. There was no more going out and eating cookies and stuff. It just worked. I can't believe in getting negative over something like that.
Bill Pearl told me the same thing. It was every divorce I had. I won the Mr. Universe. I'm not suggesting to you all to get divorced and break up with your girlfriend. But negative energy can reconstitute it. It really can.
There's no question about it. There's no sense to be negative. There's too much stuff in the world you only hear one time.
Yeah.
How many days now are you? Where are you traveling?
I'm traveling an awful lot. 30 different countries last year. I just got back from a long tour. I like to train. I can really do well on once a week. Twice a week, I seem to do pretty good.
Well, you hit the whole body on once a week?
No, what I'll do is I'll have a leg day. A serious leg day.
Yeah.
Not like the old days. I'm not trying to break the sound records anymore.
Your leg day is always serious.
But I put on 315 on the bar at the high point of my training, and I'll do 25 reps of 315. I figure if I can do that at age 63, life's okay. Keep my back's tight, it feels good.
Yeah.
They have to be perfect reps.
Yeah.
If they're not,
no, I get that.
I get complications. But then the next weekend, or the Saturday, would be upper body. I'll choose chest or back. And I'm able to get a lot of things done that way. I tried training more often, especially on the tour. I end up hurting myself.
Well, it works for you, but even back in those days when I was training with Arnold and Franklin, those guys, we always did chest and back together because they were opposing muscle groups.
Yeah.
And it worked well. And in a small gym like that where the camaraderie was good and people didn't get in your way, you could superset here and go there and the machine wouldn't be taken, You go back and forth. You go back and forth. And then it was shoulders, which we started doing those presses up and down the rack and laterals, and that was enough for shoulders. But then bicep, tricep, the same thing. Superset, bicep, tricep.
I like that a lot.
I like it too, but it's hard to do in crowded gyms because the minute you walk away, someone takes your dumbbells. Say, oh, excuse me, I was using that. So
I think for me, from my observations, chest and back supersetted works better for taller guys. Now, how tall are you?
I was 6'5", now I'm 5'6". Now I'm 5'11".
Okay, so you're taller than me. I'm 5'7" supposedly, or 5'8".
Yeah, but if I wear lifts when I go out, I'm 6'2".
What I'm getting at,
No, I'm playing with you.
More ectomorph.
Listen, wait, Tom, being short is okay. Things are always looking up.
Hey, man.
You're right.
It's worked for me all these years. Worked for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the elevator smells different.
I always thought about being tall. Wonder how that would be. Like, hi, how are you?
Well, I have friends 6'6", 6'7", like Pete Koch, for example. He's 6'6", and when he comes over, he ducks, and I look at him, and he's way up there, and I think, what's it like up there? Why can't I be that?
probably be awkward, but you have to get in the car.
Well, it's awkward.
It's,
Clothes don't fit. Getting in the car, ducking at doorways. You scratch your head if you don't. You know.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, and you know what? And we all got through it.
Yeah, for sure. People always say, "I thought you were taller from the pictures." You know?
I said, well, I was.
Yeah, I really was. Yeah.
You should catch me in the morning. I have another hat 5/8 of an inch on.
Somebody told me the other day, a guy that I'm working with, he said, when I'm real dry and get ready to compete, and they measure me prior to the event, I'm always 5'7".
Yeah.
And normally I'm 5'9". And
Really?
Maybe you do shrink.
Well, I know that for the Highway Patrol, these guys were trying to pass the height test, and they used to get up in the morning and drive right over. The minute they got out of bed, they were 5/8 of an inch taller just from sleeping. Then it goes down from there in the day.
It must change, you know.
Well, gravity pulls you down. I'm sure. I'm sure squats pull you down too.
Never thought about that, but
It compresses the spine a little bit.
Yeah.
You have any back problems?
I've always had a back problem.
Have you?
And that's one of the reasons I started squatting. When I was playing football in junior high, I had to go for therapy in the morning, and they told me that one of my vertebrae was not fused together, and so they encouraged me to build substantial muscle in my back muscles. And squats, I enjoyed the movement, and it was conducive to my body type, the strict weightlifting style, the high bar squats, not leaning over at all, was very effective for me. And in fact, that's probably the reason I had to squat perfectly.
Yeah.
I could not squat without being pure. Okay,
Yeah.
and that worked for my legs, and it worked. I was avoiding an injury.
Right. Have you had injuries like tendon tears?
Let me see. In legs, you mean?
Well, in your whole body.
I tore my bicep tendon in 1982 before the Olympia. I had no knee problems ever, and it's been over 50 years of squatting.
That's awesome.
I had a little tear over here 2 years ago.
Within the muscle.
Yeah, within the muscle. And my wife goes, "It's going to take you 8 weeks to get back."
Yeah, it's a partial tear. It's not bad. When I tore my quad, I completely tore it off, and I called my doctor. He says, I did both of them actually, wrestling. He said, is it partial or is it complete? I said, I have no idea. I don't know. I just know if I lean backwards, I fall over.
Yeah.
He says, you have a complete tear.
Yeah.
What about joint problems? Any arthritis?
No joint problems, no arthritis.
You're lucky.
The only thing that's got me right now is this yellow fever shot.
I heard
you go
about
to Brazil, you have to have a yellow fever shot.
Yeah.
And they go, "Oh, don't worry about it. Here's a shot. You'll be fine." Oh man, tell you, shoulders, back, neck.
Yeah, it affects you.
Oh, I mean, I'm a mess because of that. But it passes, they say.
Well, it does, but it's still for a couple of days. It's not fun.
Oh man, that's what I'm going through right now. That with the jet lag. And just the exhaustion of doing a tour like that. But I chose it. I chose it.
But you showed up here.
Hey,
And
Rick,
that was-
whenever I make a commitment to be somewhere, and Cha organizes the schedule. When she says, "Okay, Rick's expecting you," it's like doing another set.
No, but this is a plus. I mean, I have so many viewers that wanted to see you in here, and this kind of conversations, it's like grassroots type where they really enjoy it because it is we're just talking to them. We're talking to each other. It's a roundtable discussion. What are your plans as far locally? Do you have plans for your seminars or something around
I
here?
just finished a motivational seminar in Garden Grove last week. It was very nice to do that. It was for old school, and there were a lot of old schoolers there. A nice big audience.
Both of us are we're both ambassadors for Old School Labs and their products are great.
Mm-hmm.
Out of everything I've ever taken, we didn't have much back in those days. But today, with the amino acids and all the stuff that they produce, I've lost. I'm not really 73 anymore. I'm 58.
Yeah, really.
I think I'm going backwards. I think I'm getting younger. Seriously, I feel better than I ever have.
But there were girls in the audience, young girls, like maybe barely 18.
That's my type. That's my type.
Your type.
Right, yeah.
But they were like shaking. I go, "How do you know me? I mean, I retired way before you were born."
They know.
But the fathers, the sons, the internet, and I had people say, "Hey, my grandfathers wanted me to say hi to you. Our grandfathers, they played football with you when we went to school." I'm like, really? Wow.
Isn't that nice?
It's nice to have a career. It's been a long career.
Yeah, it sure has. It's not in yet.
No, I'm not done yet, and that's based upon losing the Olympia. Okay.
Yeah, but that's all right. You're still a winner. You're still out there. You're still number one with a lot of people from a group that was all number one back in the day. You can't discount what you've accomplished and the name you've made for yourself. You
kind
can't.
of to say that.
But you can't. You're a legend in bodybuilding. You're a great guy. You tell it like it is. You're a great talker. You have a lot to give from the heart and from the mind, even though you've lost your place a couple of times. But that's okay.
I really shouldn't be here because I'm so messed up on things.
But this is what makes you you, and this is what people like about you. You know, to be able to be that type of person and be real with everybody, they love it. There's no ego involved. It's just, this is who I am. I'm Tom Platz, and this is who I am, and it's a pleasure. It's just nice to be around it.
Well, you know, thank God he showed me the squat rack.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know what I would have done. You know, in fact, we all came out here, yourself included. Like, we're all like anointed. I always say anointed zombies. We gave up everything where we came from, our countries, and all we wanted to do was simply train at the same gym together.
Yeah.
One simple request from life.
Yes.
Heaven.
I'll tell you what squats did for me when I had my knee replacement. It saved me from getting up and down on the toilet.
Yeah, really.
I had a difficult time before, but boy, now it's okay. Do you have a website?
Yes, we can certainly.
And what is that?
TomPlatz.com.
Okay.
But more importantly, though, I think you could view old school labs. You can see a lot of what I'm doing there.
Right.
Also Instagram. There's 2 different sites. There's Tom Platzinum, Platzinum,
Okay.
and then there's a Tom.Platz, I believe. That's huge. It's tremendous people that come to that.
Okay.
But I'm available usually on Facebook. You can reach me on Facebook easily.
Yeah, that's a good place to message somebody.
Yeah, that seems to work for me recently.
One more thing. What would you add to well, let's do this, 2 things.
Okay.
What would you say to young guys working out today that want to achieve what you have? They want, how can I say this? They want like overnight results. The world today is instant. What do I get instant? You can't get instant.
No. I mean,
So what would you suggest that they do to get a good body?
back in my day, and even in this day, it was a choice we had to make between being a priest or being a bodybuilder. And you had to realize it was a career. And in my personal case, it was between music, playing lead guitar.
I do too.
You really?
Well,
I saw the guitars.
yeah,
I'm serious about
We'll
it.
talk about that.
Lead guitar, I was building my 427 Hemis in my garage,
Yeah.
or bodybuilding. And back in the 70s, bodybuilding was the cheapest. So I chose that. But usually you choose what you're good at. Your career sort of picks you. You don't really pick a career, I believe. But I think probably the most important thing I could relay to our viewers, your viewers.
Well, they're your viewers too.
Okay,
I'm sharing them. I'm sharing them with you.
Is you can't let anybody tell you can't do something, especially yourself.
Right.
And if you want something bad enough, if you really, really want something bad enough, there's no reason in the world why you can't do it.
Right.
I mean, I came out here and I wasn't genetically gifted, but I got to a point where I said, I'm not going to be a victim to my genetics. My genetics will be a victim to me. And the training mentality and the focus and the way I sort of constituted the leg thing, all of a sudden it worked for me. But it was only because I really believe of a belief system. I mean, it was like being drowned in the ocean, the Pacific Ocean. You'll fight to get up. If you're surfing or if somebody's holding you down, you do everything you could to breathe. And that was the same mentality that I had to bring to the gym back in the 70s.
Right.
I don't have a plan B. I don't want a plan B. This is what I'm going to do.
Right.
To tell the universe that.
Right. The thing is that you worked hard for it and being in the right place at the right time.
Sure.
Let's just say for sure, being down at Gold's Gym in the 70s, along with Joe Weider and Arnold and all the guys and doing the magazines and getting the publicity. If there had been no Joe Weider and no magazine and no Gold's Gym, it would be totally different today.
Nobody would know about us.
No.
But I always believe that luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah.
And the opportunity, I believed, as you believed, we all believed, was out here at that time.
Yeah, there's no question about it.
Yeah.
What about, one more thing, what about guys who are older in their 60s and 70s that have trained but quit training, want to get back into shape, and they write me and say, what do I do to get back into the gym? I need some motivation. Where do I start and where do I begin? What would you suggest to them?
I would just go to the gym one day. Don't plan on how many days or how many sets or reps. Just go one day and do one exercise. Warm up. Do it again. And go, maybe get into it for the final set. You don't have to go to failure, but just remember those days and then leave. And then and rest a couple of days and go, I could do that again. And I think if you start slow that way, which I had to do at one point, all of a sudden you go, I can handle this. And you start eating better. And all of a sudden you start thinking about the next workout, and how it's going to feel, and maybe I'll put a little more weight on. And I mentioned this to Arnold the other day. I said, I think it's more fun this time around. He smiled, and he joked, and he says, yeah, but everything hurts nowadays more than it used to hurt.
It does.
Yeah.
I know he's in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And it catches a Dave Draper I spoke to 2 weeks ago, and I did a tribute to him because he won't go on camera. That's always been Dave. He doesn't like cameras. And he's always like that, but he's been very kind, and he sends me a lot of emails, and he's had a series of injuries and heart problems and everything else, but he's still plugging along. Because I hit the dumbbells a couple of times a week. Maybe more, but that's what
he might need a little more. He's a long, lean.
Well, I want to thank you for being here.
Well, thank you, Rick.
It's been a real pleasure.
The pleasure is mine, sir.
And I'm glad that Tom came and talked to all of you, because I know you've been asking for it, and you can see he's an awesome guy. And he's still an awesome guy and always will be, and still always be in the gym, because it's a lifestyle. It's not a hobby or a something you just take for granted. It becomes a lifestyle, right?
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
We'll see you all next time on Rick's Corner, and we'll bring you more from the past of the history of the golden era.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Hey everyone, now you can have the Gold's Gym logo drawn by me, the artist Rick Drasin, personalized and made out to you and signed by me to frame and put on your gym wall or wherever you see fit to do so. It's a piece of bodybuilding history. It will never be duplicated again. It's the largest selling icon t-shirt logo in the world, and I'm the guy that drew it, and I will draw it for you. Just go to my website, rickdrasin.com, and order there. You can pay through PayPal, and it'll be sent out right away. And be sure to watch Rick's Corner for all the videos on bodybuilding, nutrition, fitness, pro wrestling, and anything that suits your interest as far as getting physically fit and being the best you can be from the golden era of bodybuilding.
He's the equalizer, baby. See you next time.